Hello and welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us. And over the weekend, I was at the Reggie Lewis Center in Boston for a Veg Fest, the 29th annual Boston Veg Fest. And I've done a lot of Veg Fests. They're always amazing. I'm going to do a video on them in a little bit, but I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that I saw because I parked right across the street from this and I came across something really cool, this cool rock ledge that is almost out of nowhere. But then right across the street again was this, which to me looks like a Moorish temple. Definitely does not, it looks like kind of modern design, but also looks like it's old school that turned modern. And right next to it, right in front of where I parked 2 days in a row, was this amazing ledge, this rock ledge. But when you got close to it, it looked very interesting. And so I wanted to take a look, and that brought me back to Jared Booster's old video of Old World Boston, where he photographed Boston looking immaculate before all the fires. So I am convinced that Boston as well was extremely ancient, possibly Norumbega, in that ancient city of stone and massive rocks, granite, amazing, immaculate old school stone, crazy buildings that were all over the world, is under this massive city right here. And I'm not positive, but I've seen a lot of things in Boston that point to it, and I'm gonna find more. So look at this edge right here. That's not just a random rock that was upheaved. That is clearly an old structure. The way it turns like that, the 90-degree, pretty much perfect turn. All the edges were very flat, and all the stones looked like they were handmade stones. They were made from some kind of thing, and I'll show you as we zoom in. But very interesting. Again, it looks like something that's been destroyed clearly. I don't know how many resets ago, but this looks like the oldest of the old school Boston. And now there was a little tent for a homeless guy in there, because that is definitely happening a lot in the area. Not as much as I would have thought, to be honest, but again, I got a lot of pictures of this rock, and look at this stone. It's amazing. And I'm not sure if it was once part of a greater, I'm sure it was part of a greater something, but it to me does not look natural at all. There's all these different things. There's some iron little like metal pieces in it. There's this right here, which clearly looks like some kind of old castle design. And this is just a completely random part of Boston. That's what I want to get you guys through. Is this is like near the Reggie Lewis Center. Near there's a police station near it, kind of near Northeastern University in the Ruggles area. But there is so much under that city that it's impossible to fathom. And you have these different a lot of different markings like this, or different perfect holes that were found in the rock, perfect, clearly from some other former use at some point in time. And just again, a sign of an ancient Boston, a straight up ancient Boston. And I think these are the parts that were the Norumbega parts, the parts that were, when you go to other places and you see, well, even in Boston Harbor, you see the star forts. I have a feeling they were a lot of little ones that are still around, but I have a feeling there were some big ones, and this might have been one of the walls of one of those fortresses. There's no way of telling. But again, because all of these things are just pointless. They're just there. Everybody walks by them without even thinking about them. People probably thought I was a freak for taking pictures of this area, but I couldn't resist. Look at these walls. Look at the straightness of this. And to me, I bet you that goes down way further, and I bet it was something absolutely incredible. And these kind of things like this, these cliff sides that look like they could be structured and just destroyed and ruins of something, these are all over the highways in Massachusetts, around Boston. They are everywhere. There's just so many different spots like this, so many different hills that have things like this around them, or old school walkways that are really super old, or giant brick like buildings, stone blocks all over the place, and things like this, holes that are just like carved perfectly into it that clearly had a use at some point. And then this looks like kind of like filler at some point. Maybe they filled in something, a crack or a gap. I was looking around at the cracks, seeing if you could find anything that had like any air or any wind coming out of it. And again, this is looking straight up of this. And as you get closer, I think I've got pictures coming up. Yeah, oh, this was kind of cool. I don't know if that was to tie up a horse at some point or something completely different. I have no idea. But again, just this city, and as you look here, you can see that this was made up of tiny stones, like a primitive concrete, but not really primitive, probably more advanced, because it's still there and it's perfect and it's barely flaking apart. And I was wondering, it made me think, what if they put like certain random stone, like if I was old and ancient, I would have probably put some random kind of things in, but I guess not, because you wouldn't really want to waste them and be like, oh, who would really think that someone thousands or hundreds of years later would be interested in it? But there could be, who knows what's on the other side of this or inside this, or like if you were to look through it in LiDAR, would there be something? Would there be the roots of a building? Is this the foundation of a building? And that's another thing I was thinking too, is that it seems like, all these buildings that are mud flooded that we see all over the world, the foundations are something that I feel is untouched upon. And I think a lot of these layers, like in the Grand Canyon, in different places where you find these things that kind of look out of place, or they have like this, you can see the lines in the ground, and they're telling you that, oh, that's just from that particular year, something covered the ground, and that's the fill of the year or whatever of that particular age. And I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of those are different foundations or different layers of architecture, of ancient architecture, melted, destroyed, just crushed, and repurposed historically. But either way, I got all kinds of vibes from this. I'm not sure exactly what to think, but I know, and from living in Boston and walking around it and seeing the pictures of Jared Boosters and seeing a lot of other pictures that I've seen as well, you just know this city is very old. And it's a shame, because if it was in Europe, it would be 100% fact that it was super old. But here, it's like they've got that 0 point of the country at like when Columbus came over and all that nonsense. So they just make everyone think, education-wise and historically, that there could have been nothing here, no castles, no structures, no massive buildings, no massive layouts. But that is wrong. So we have to erase that entirely, because there was someone here, and they were amazing, and their ancient civilizations were everywhere, and their structures were this world. They were the world. Everything that we see in Rumble, and they're like, oh, glaciers deposited those rocks there. No, those are crushed old buildings. It's almost a guarantee now. And look at some of these old buildings that still survive in Boston. There's a lot of them. A lot of churches, tons, all over this area that date back from the 1600s or even earlier sometimes. And again, that's only part of the story, because you have these buildings and then everything else around it is from after the fire. But, why were those buildings spared? How deep do those buildings go? How long have they truly been here? Because we know the people in the 1900s, after the fires and stuff, were not making things like this. So, again, so much mystery, and Boston has a lot to discover, and I want to, because they did like this mound, all these different little mounds and memorials. I think whenever they have a memorial like this one, they're hiding something. These churches are super old. All the dates on them, they just have a little tiny part of the building which is carved in concrete, the year. So very easy to fake all of this stuff. Look at this. Under there, boom, guaranteed to be something. And I forget what they refer to this as. I'll show it in the next picture, but this has an interesting name. The Fort Hill Tower Standpipe. So was that a pipe from some geothermal ancient thing, or just something different? Again, everything is repurposed. Everything is a lie. Everything must be rethought of, because this city is so immaculate and looks like an absolute shambled mess when you're on the ground level now. But at one point, I guarantee it had a perfect, immaculate order to it. And that is the Boston I want to rediscover. So stay tuned, because I'm going to do more local on-the-ground explorations of a lot of this stuff, because I see stuff in the woods that's very out of place. I see stuff in the town of Brockton right next door to me that is immaculate and very out of place again. And so I want to start publishing and posting about these things and theorizing about them, and if you can see that square up there in the upper left, that was an old reservoir, a massive several block reservoir of water. And you never hear about that stuff in our time as like a thing. And so that, again, was something in the bottom left now. That's something from an older period, an older people, a different people. And so we got to discover more and more of this, because everything lies under. All the secrets, all the answers that we need and desire are under our feet. So we got to keep digging. Bless you all. Just wanted to add a couple of little photos to the end that this picture has been ingrained in my memory. I saw this a long time ago and I'm blown away. And if the more you look at it, the more you see the immaculate detail of the old world of Boston. And that place, is amazing. They probably protected that water so well. I'm not sure how they purified it. Not sure if there's a spring under there or what, but ancient old world stuff everywhere. And this is that standpipe that I was talking about before that I knew had some mysterious origin. Just look at the landscape around it, everything around it. What is its purpose? It's just not clear to us. But again, a lot of mysteries around Boston, and I'm going to be diving deep into them. So bless you all. Stay tuned for more.